One of my favorite things about all of the wines across the range from Cloudsley is you're not afraid to allow the wine to speak to the vintage. I think the vintage really shows in all the Cloudsley wines.
Yeah, absolutely. The again, it's because I'm not trying to over macerate.
Mm.
You can't make something that it's not. In
A lot of
2020,
people
even
try. A lot of people
I,
try. Trust me.
true,
Yeah.
a lot of people try. And with Niagara, we have such vintage variation. So I just want to
Yeah.
let the vintage show, the vineyard show, and really because from vintage to vintage, we can see in all of our single vineyard wines the true expression of that vineyard. So, and that's what I want to keep doing. And by doing that, I don't want to over extract. So if you over extract or try and make it something that it's not, then I just find that it doesn't truly express what it can be. So that's sort of where my focus is letting the wine and the vineyard showcase itself because we have some great vineyards here in the 20 Mile Bench. I find that they're extremely amazing to work with. We have really really good fruit, so I want to express that fruit and showcase it.
I've spoken to Adam various times about the different fruit sources you have, but I'd love to get it from the horse's mouth with the man who has his hands in those grapes. Tell me a little bit about the fruit sources you have and what they mean for you once they get to the winery and what kind of, how you work with them. Your thoughts about the different characters that come from the different vineyard sources?
Yeah, it's funny. I have a unique relationship, I think, with every vineyard. Some I absolutely love watching the entire process. Some I absolutely hate because I get really frustrated with how they look. And but generally, the ones I get most frustrated with, I really enjoy at the very end.
Right.
So it's like I make sure that it gets once it's pressing in barrel. I'm like I can forget it. It's like giving birth to a baby. It's like that's why I feel like doing it. They forget about it. So it's I always forget about what it looks like at harvest because sometimes it doesn't always look great, but it always turns out phenomenal. So, like with Park, there's a great for Pinot Noir. Our Park Vineyard, I think, is very irony and umami, and is sort of a rugged style Pinot. And
Yeah.
then just north Bank, it's really fruit driven. A really really nice concentration of fruit from that site. But again, they're like I don't know, 40 feet apart. And I just find that they're so expressively different. And which is really kind of cool because it's that way every single year. And then
Mhm.
up in the upper tier with Glen Elgin, that's one of the ones I hate following all the way through, but it's always one of our most delicate, prettiest Pinots.
Yeah.
And it's one of my favorites. So um, it's really shallow soils up there. So it's always very, very delicate and light, which I really like in that Pinot. And Chardonnay, we have two different expressions as well with Wingfield and Foxcroft. Foxcroft
Yes.
being wide open, super sunny, amazing airflow, generally a riper site, and usually great to work with. You just have to be careful with acids falling out there, so you have to be on it. Whereas Wingfield takes its time. It generally we pick it 2 to 3 weeks, sometimes even a month later than Foxcroft, and it's generally not riper either. So it's more of a cooler, tighter that takes a little bit longer, I find, to express itself than Foxcroft does. So it's really cool to sort of learn these vineyards and see what they express and not get too frustrated with them, even though you think it's going to go one way or another. You just be patient. I think that's the biggest thing.
Very cool. Let's talk briefly about the importance of having the right cooperage because you use, it's all French or all Burgundian oak that you use, but tell us a little bit about what you use for the Chardonnay and what you use for the Pinot.
Yeah, sure. The Chardonnay, I think, makes a really big difference. We generally are using mainly two different forests with generally two different coopers,
Okay.
Demi and Sprug, both Burgundian coopers. And we do medium long toasts, which I find it does the trick really, really well in both hot and cool years
Yeah.
and isn't sort of persuading one way or another. It's very delicate. And the forests that we are generally using are Allier and Vosges. And I just find that those are um, two forests that work really well with those two coopers. And I just find that they're very delicate in their flavor profile. And it works amazing with Chardonnay. Um, And we also use Chatillon and Pinot with those two other forests, same as with Chardonnay.
Yes. Yeah.
When we're buying for any vintage, we have to buy in the spring, which is kind of frustrating because you don't know what the harvest is going to be
Of
like.
course. Yeah.
But whether we're going to be long in one way or another. But those coopers with those forests really work well with both Pinot Noir and Chardonnay. So we have some flexibility with that as well. So what they're toasting, we don't really want heavy toast ever, just because we want the fruit and the vineyard to showcase rather than the oak. So it's just more of a little bit of a component, a little bit of spice that we're getting from those new oak, because we're only generally 20 to 25% for the entire vintage. So it's just a little bit of a spice.
Excellent. I guess a closing question would be, what would you say the most important things are that you have learned since you started making wine at Cloudsley?
Patience, I think. Patience and adaptability. Every year is so different. You can have an amazing growing season, and then harvest comes along, and it can just throw you for a loop. So I just find it's just being patient and just making the best choices and the best educated decisions that you can. Because sometimes you just can't help what comes in, and you just have to do the best job you can with that fruit. So it's just being patient and then reacting the proper way. I think is what, especially with wild ferments, because you really never know what you're going to get.
Speaking of patience, I believe you're just about to embark on a sparkling program. Quite the investment, both of time and of finances.
Yeah, we're starting the process of our sparkling program this year, which I'm really looking forward to. I've been sort of hinting at Adam that I've been wanting to do it for a while, and he's sort of finally said okay. So we're going to start that. We probably won't see something for another 5 to 7 years, maybe even years. So we're laying stuff down and for reserve wines, and probably won't start bottling for another 3 or 4 years. So it's going to be fun and exciting. I'm really looking forward to it.
Well, we look forward to tasting the fruits of your labors in 5 years' time with regards to the sparkling. Thank you very much for joining us at Good Food Revolution today. We saw you on stage speaking at I4C. How did that feel to be in front of hundreds of wine nerds like that?
It was great. Honestly, the setting was fabulous. It was like, it was, there's hundreds of people there, but it felt like it was almost like a one-on-one interview. So I found it pretty relaxing and pretty, it was great. I really, really enjoyed it. It's such a good event. And it was great talking about our Foxcroft Chard. So I had a lot of fun.
Well, I thought you did such a smashing job on stage that I had to get you on Good Food Revolution to have a little chat about what you were up to at Cloudsley. Thanks so much for your time today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Excellent. Take care. Bye for now.